In this video, I'm going to demonstrate Microsoft Security Copilot. The example I'm going to show today is an investigation of an incident that highlights each of the different values of Microsoft Security Copilot and incorporates numerous Microsoft products, including Microsoft Sentinel, Microsoft 365 Defender, Microsoft Defender Threat Intelligence, and Microsoft Intune. To begin the investigation, I'm going to ask Security Copilot about incident 29088 contained within the Woodgrove workspace. This data is being pulled from Sentinel, and very quickly, we can see that a user downloaded a file from a malicious IP address. And we have some information about the machine they used, who did it, and the infrastructure involved. As an analyst, I need to understand more about each of the entities to consider the impact of the incident. Security Copilot can provide further detail on each one of these named entities. To get this information, I asked Security Copilot to extract the entities from Sentinel and build Kusto Query Language queries behind the scenes to further enrich them using Defender data. And I can see that this user works in sales, has multiple email addresses associated with their account, and their machine is onboarded into our environment, but AV is not supported. We know that human-operated ransomware has been on the rise, and we know that from the time of infection, organizations only have minutes to contain the malicious activity. My next step in this process will be to analyze the actual indicators of compromise and the malicious infrastructure. If we look at our next prompt here, we see just that. I asked Security Copilot to explain why the IP address it noted is malicious. This information is pulled from Defender Threat Intelligence, and right away, I see 3 reasons why this infrastructure is noted as being bad. Notably, we have 2 intelligence profiles described as Cobalt Strike and Silk Typhoon, with links to read more. As I go on to my next prompt, I can begin to understand more in detail what these particular tools and actors are. So, if I assume that these entities are unfamiliar to me, I'm going to ask Security Copilot for more information. In my prompt, I do just that. So very quickly, I'm able to understand that Cobalt Strike is a tool commonly abused by threat actors, and Silk Typhoon is a sophisticated threat actor group who's been responsible for many notable attacks. Regardless of my skill level, these summaries immediately raise the severity of the incident and tell me that we need to move a lot more quickly. What I love about this capability is that it puts decades of Microsoft's understanding about threats directly at the fingertips of analysts, and it's delivered in context. If I didn't have this, I would need to hunt around on the internet hoping that someone was tracking this particular threat actor and had noted the association to the infrastructure. Now, knowing the severity of the incident itself, I immediately move to understand the devices associated with this user, if they're compliant, and what steps I may need to take to make them compliant. Here, I ask Security Copilot to help me out with this step. This information's pulled from Intune and Security Copilot showing me 2 additional devices, noting one device that we're dealing with is not compliant and also not encrypted. I'm able to see this by looking at the table that I asked Security Copilot to build for me. And we can see here at the bottom, this is our non-compliant, non-encrypted device that now has potential threat activity on top of it. What we can also see here is that Security Copilot has provided additional next steps for compliance. Security Copilot is saying to put the device in contact with the Intune service, and it's advising to deploy Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, something we know is actually missing from this device, as we had seen earlier in our session. And now, we need to figure out what the actual blast radius of this incident is, if there's more that we need to be concerned with. So, I immediately move to asking Defender to hunt across the workspace to identify if this user and all their emails associated with them have any other alerts that we may want to pay special attention to. My goal here is to understand what else might be related on that user identity, knowing that it could be compromised. Security Copilot leverages the previous information identified in the prompt responses to construct KQL queries and hunt across Microsoft 365 Defender. In our response, we see the KQL query Security Copilot created and the results. They do not appear to be associated with any material incidents, but what I like about this prompt is that it's a great demonstration of the power to take natural language questions and translate them into KQL, extending the expertise of the analyst. This prompt is also a great case to highlight that mistakes sometimes occur within the AI-generated outputs. In this case, if I look at the table, some of the information contained within is not actually filled in appropriately that would give me an indication if there's more detail. So, finally, if I'm satisfied with the state of the investigation that it's in, now I want to have Security Copilot write me a report, providing an assessment with confidence, supporting evidence, and a set of recommendations. The output here accurately summarizes what took place, and Security Copilot makes several great recommendations. From here, I can continue engaging with Security Copilot to learn how to implement these various steps, or I could escalate this to others within my organization. New members engaging on this incident could read from the Pinboard to quickly come up to speed and identify next steps. If I toggle the Pinboard here, what it's going to do is take the 6 items that I pinned to the Pinboard and begin to summarize them into a quick summary that anyone from my team could understand and use to quickly get up to speed on the incident itself. We can see here that the summary tells me about the incident, downloading a file from an SAP system using a malicious IP address. We see the entities that were involved. There's notable information here. It's associated with Cobalt Strike and Silk Typhoon. The device is non-compliant, and then there's been recommendations that are proposed. An incident like this could easily extend several hours depending on the actions taken. With what was shown today, I would expect a mid-level analyst would have to spend at least an hour or more collecting the same information that we collected in just a few minutes. Furthermore, they would need to possess the skill to write the KQL queries we formatted behind the scenes to answer questions, and they would need to be familiar with the other product interfaces to find the supporting evidence. Writing the report wouldn't take more than half an hour if the information was collected appropriately, though in our case, no time was required to write this. And then finally, all the engagement to do this work was completed with natural language, removing the complexities of interacting with different security tools regardless of the vendor. To learn more about Microsoft Security Copilot, visit aka.ms/securitycopilot.